So let's call this video Some Assembly Required for the Stand. And actually this some assembly required notion I've been working toward for a long time. And I have the feeling that I may actually end up successfully figuring out a way to do it for the box as well. I think this will work out real good for a stand though, and there's one specific customer I have right now who I need to do this for because he ordered a box from me 12 years ago, and he said, you know, my box is done pretty good, but the stand needs to be replaced, and is there anything we could do? And of course I said, well, yeah, sure, I can send you another stand, but the problem is I don't want to have to ship it in a box that's this big, because UPS is charging an arm and a leg and firstborn kid to ship something nowadays. If it gets over certain dimensions, they call that dimensional weight. And it's killing me. So I may have to figure out a way to do some assembly required for reasons other than just taking care of customers like Emmett. But here's the way this specific box is going to work. It may be that down the road I change it a little bit and this video won't be exactly right, but I'm sure you'll be able to figure it out either from instructions that I send or I'll do a different video. But the way I'm doing this one is this. This stand is completely assembled, but it's not glued together. It's just, well, really screwed together. Now, I have put some tape on it. I have the two tape corner and the one tape corner. And what I'm going to do is take this, and right where the two pieces meet, I'm going to cut that tape. So Emmett, what you're going to do when you put this together, all you have to do is match the tape. The two tape corner and the one tape corner. Now, the other point is you have 4 small screws, and then you have 6 deck screws here, 4 deck screws here, and 4 deck screws on the other side. So let's take those all out. I'm going to use a power driver. Of course, you don't have to do it that way. You can do it with a standard screwdriver, which is probably better because you're not going to strip it with, you know, the odds of stripping it are probably not as great with just a standard old run-of-the-mill Phillips screwdriver. Now, I want to point out to you that what these screws are doing is they're going to bring 2 surfaces together for us. So the glue will bond them together, because you're going to need to glue it. Now, I do not normally glue these pieces on top. I don't normally glue these pieces on top because, you know, you might have to change them one of these days. I mean, somebody might drop something on it and break it off, and you know, you might have to replace it. So I don't glue it. And these, they're glued, but they're only tacked with hot glue. So all you'd have to do is just kind of tap it with a little mallet or something, and they'd come right off. They'd be off in a heartbeat. So you see what we have here is a top piece. Now again, when you put it together, make sure that there are no gaps. As we get our tape on here, that we stick our screws in it, it should just flush everything up real well. You can stick a little weight here and there. If there's anything in the way of a gap, that should take it out. Now, I usually use Titebond 2, which is plenty adequate for pretty much everything we normally use things for. However, because you're a canoeer and things might get wet, you might want to actually use waterproof glue, which is a little better option for people who do things around water. So you're going to need a bottle of one of these. Just get the smallest bottle that they have. You won't need a whole lot. So you can see what happened there. There's 5 pieces to this. The top is 1. So what you are going to do is just, in effect, put this thing together in reverse order. So I'm going to take all those, stick them in a bag, and send that with it. By the way, you kit builders get a bag with hardware in it as well. Keep the bag. This is a good bag. This is like a 3mm bag, which is quite a bit thicker than a sandwich bag. But that's where you put your matches, things you don't want to get wet inside your chuck box. Throw them in this little bag. Keep it. It comes in quite handy. Okay, now I took the screws out, and because I have stained and finished this, a little bit of that has gotten in a crack. It's going to be a little bit harder for me to get apart. And I have to kind of tug on it a little bit. Now remember, you want to match this with this. And the other real important thing, probably the only thing you could screw up, would be to swap these 2 pieces, which you can't do with the tape on there. If you match the tape, you won't do that. And of course, they do go in with the skinny side up and this, which I mentioned on the other video, the long piece to the outside. Okay? What we now have is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces. And that. There's another video on how to do a version C stand arrangement. You're going to want to watch that. But just adhere to all the rules there. We try to make sure everything's straight. Try to make sure there's no gaps and what have you. Should work out good for you, Emmett. Thanks for the order. Go camping.